Grizzlies-related news from the weekend. Darko Rajakovic, Grizzlies' assistant coach, is set to become the new head coach of the Toronto Raptors. Great hire for Toronto, big loss for the Grizzlies. This was the final head coaching position that was open in the NBA to be filled. He will replace Nick Nurse, of course, who led the Raptors to a championship just a couple of years ago, was a head coach of the year. According to the report from Adrian Wojnarowski, the Raptors wanted a coach who both could coach a contender, but also could be in charge of a rebuild. And the other finalists for the job, according to that report, Kenny Atkinson with the Golden State Warriors, and then Charles Lee, who ended up being hired as an assistant in Boston over the weekend. Darko Rajakovic is awesome. We don't get a ton of access with assistant coaches here in Memphis, but one of my favorite parts of my job for the radio broadcast is I have the opportunity to sit down with all the players, the coaches, for a Grizz Files episode where we kind of just do all right, tell me about how your journey started, and we go through the whole spiel up until they're ending up in Memphis. And having the opportunity to sit down and hear Darko Rajakovic's story that led him from Serbia, where he played a little bit when he was younger, but very quickly realized, I have more of a future as a coach, and it takes a lot of people a long time to realize that. It took Darko Rajakovic when he was 16 years old. At 16 years old, he became a coach for the first time, and it is such a rarity to even know what you want to do when you're 16 years old, but to start what turns into your life path, and now ultimately that leading him into a head coaching position in the NBA is really cool. He's an innovative offensive mind, super creative with the pick and roll. He first came over to America and learned from Coach K at Duke, learned from Lute Olson at Arizona, spent some time with the Thunder organization, became the first non-North American coach in the D League, now the G League, was in Phoenix, and then ended up on Taylor Jenkins' staff here in Memphis. And Taylor Jenkins has spoken a lot about how much Darko Rajakovic means to this group through all of the COVID interruptions of the last couple of years. Darko Rajakovic had a couple of chances where he was the acting head coach on a couple of occasions. He was massive in the development of Desmond Bane, and that's what the Raptors are really getting, is someone who has put so much effort into the developmental side of the game. On his journey, a part of that was he spent some time in Spain and helped form the developmental program over there. And we've seen now, we talked about it last week, who's the #1 team in the world going into FIBA World Cup this year? It's Spain. And a huge reason is because of their developmental program. And Darko Rajakovic has taken that. We got to see the fruits of that labor here in Memphis when it comes to Desmond Bane, the leaps that he took. He spent time with Santi Aldama in Spain last offseason. That helped propel Santi into the position that he was with the Grizzlies this year, had been working with Zaire Williams. And now you think from a Toronto standpoint, what he can do with Scottie Barnes and what he can turn Scottie Barnes